Have you ever wondered what is the worst starter Pokemon? Well, today we're looking at the top 10 worst starter Pokemon of all time. At the beginning of every region, we must make an important decision. Grass, fire, water. We must pick our partner Pokemon. Often than not, these are our most beloved and overleveled Pokemon on our teams. But some starter Pokemon are just not very good. And some are just complete and utter trash. While some starter Pokemon just wish they were other Pokemon. But hey, this is just my opinion. Feel free to let me know yours down in the comment section down below. And feel free to roast mine. And with that being said, let's get right into the list. Number 10. Okay, this one just saddens me because this is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's the Decidueye. Such a cool freaking Pokemon. I think this was the first time ever I actually picked a grass type starter. But man, is it disappointing. First of all, let's take a look at those stats. The first thing you'll notice is that it's a mixed type attacker. Not many Pokemon do well as mixed type attackers. There are a few that work, but generally speaking, you would want to have most of your stats into either attack or special attack for more damage output. And for everyone's favorite owl Pokemon, you would think a bird would be fast, but
nope.
Come on, Game Freak. Giving Decidueye only 10 more speed than its starter counterpart. At least they have bulk going for them. Decidueye, not so much, especially with the grass typing. I don't know why this generation's so slow. It's like they just put ankle weights on a bunch of Pokemon in this generation, especially the starters. Decidueye is kind of a weird one. Generation 6 is when power creep really started to kick in. It just feels like Decidueye just kind of got left out. Primarina is an OU. Incineroar, let's just not talk about Incineroar. But yeah, from Generation 6, Pokemon started to get a lot more special treatment, a lot more gimmick abilities, especially the starters like Intimidate, Liquid Voice, Protean, and Grassy Surge. Even the starters started to get insane signature moves like Spiky Shield, Torch Song, boosting your special attack guaranteed, and Aqua Step, boosting your speed guaranteed as well. So what did Decidueye get? Spirit Shackle, which is just pretty meh. And that word right there is pretty much the best way to sum up Decidueye. Okay, coming in number 9 is Delphox. Okay, I have to go on a little bit of a side rant. Okay, how do they mess up Fennekin? I know it's been stated like 1,000 times that Delphox is the biggest disappointment in Pokemon history, but like, come on. Game Freak knew they messed up too. They put its pre-evolution in another game over Delphox. Not only is its design a mess up, but then also on top of that, it's horrible and competitive too. You can't be bad at both. Come on now. As a starter Pokemon, the standards are high and Delphox failed us. Taking a look at Delphox's stats on paper, it's actually not too bad. Decent speed, decent special attack, but that's about all it has going for itself. 5 weaknesses, and practically any fire type does a better job than Delphox. There really is no reason to use this thing. Delphox is kind of like the ends of a loaf of bread. Nobody likes it. Coming in number 8. Yeah, it's Emboar. Game Freak did him real dirty. Giving us 3 fire fighting types back to back to back wasn't bad enough already. I'm sure Game Freak up in their little noodle brain could have figured out a way to differentiate Emboar from Infernape and Blaziken, but it's just more of the same. In fact, Blaziken and Infernape do it better than Emboar himself. Kinda feel bad for the guy. He was set up from failure right from the start. Bro, what the hell are these stats? This may be the worst stat distribution I've ever seen. High HP like it's trying to be bulky, but then horrendous defensive stats. And taking a look at that speed, it's just overall pretty mediocre. It's not even slow enough for Trick Room. And just for the cherry on top, when it's supposed to be a fighting type being a physical attacker, it's a mixed attacker having almost equal special and physical attack. What a literal mess. Emboar had no hope. Number 7, Samurott. Now, I'm only talking about the original form. Luckily, the Hisuian one came along and fixed everything, and actually it's insanely good, especially with its signature move being able to set up spikes. But man, is its base form just horrible, and those are using light words. Honestly, this picture just sums up pretty much how I feel about mono-type starters. Samurott's stats on paper aren't that bad, it's just pretty lackluster in comparison to other water starters. How could it compete with titans like Blastoise, Swampert, and Primarina? Oh, and Greninja, that one too. Now coming in number 6, it's a sad day, we have Typhlosion. It's literally just copy and paste Charizard stats. Gen 2 and Gen 5 got it real bad with starters. For Gen 2, they're only mono type. They don't have any cool abilities, they don't have any alternate forms. Oh wait, Typhlosion just got one, but it doesn't really make it any better. This was their time to save Typhlosion and they didn't. Come on. What a missed opportunity.
Disappointed!
Yeah, Gen 2 starters are pretty iconic, but just pretty overall bland. And Gen 5's only saving grace really is superior, which is still a menace today competitive to be fair. But back to Typhlosion, I think the only thing it's really got going for itself is its eruption gimmick, which isn't even that good to be honest. So Typhlosion pretty much in a nutshell, practically no bulk, barely any offensive capabilities, and its speed stat is above average? Yeah, that's practically Typhlosion. It can go hang out with Delphox and Emboar next to the trash can. Hey man, need a friend? Coming in number 5 is Sceptile. Let me start off by saying I freaking love Sceptile, one of the coolest designed Pokemon, but you just can't deny that it's just bad. Taking a look at its stats, it's actually quite fast at 120 base speed, but the problem comes when you take a look at its special attack. Now you may be wondering, what's wrong with it? It's 105. But that's the problem. It's mainly a physical type attacker when its special attack is super high. Even its signature attack is physical, almost like Game Freak was playing a prank on us. And on top of that, it's quite frail and just doesn't perform well against the gym leaders and the Elite Four. Coming in number 4 is Charizard, the backup mascot to Pikachu. This is obviously leaving out its Megas and Gigantamax forms because those would be easily S tier. But unfortunately, Charizard just kind of falls flat on its face without its alternate forms. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Stealth Rocks. Can't even get this thing out on the field without it losing half of its health half of the time. And yet is another Pokemon that performs horribly in its region. Coming in number 3, we have Torterra. Man, I love all these Pokemon, but Game Freak just did them dirty. At least with Sceptile and Charizard, it has its Megas. Please Game Freak, I beg that Torterra gets an alternate form or some form of Mega in the future. Unfortunately, Torterra is as useful as number 9 on the microwave. And let's talk about these stats for a second. Torterra has a horrendous speed stat. At a whopping, wait for it, 56. Just about good for nothing. It's not fast enough to outspeed anything, and it's not even slow enough to be used in Trick Room. So it's just left in this awful gray area to be used and abused. And with a 4 times weakness to the very common attack type Ice, Torterra isn't going on anyone's team anytime soon. If you would have guessed that there would have been a lot of grass types on this list, you'd have been right. Grass types are just not as good as water and fire types. Just from a completely objective standpoint, water being one of the best defensive typings, being only weak to grass and electric, and fire being one of the best offensive typings, hitting grass, bug, ice, and that ever so precious steel type super effectively. Now unfortunately, the grass type only hits 3 types super effectively while having 4 weaknesses. I would honestly love to see the grass type have a buff in Generation 10, just to make that grass, fire, water decision a little bit more difficult. This list has kind of turned into a grass rant, but for good reason, because coming in number 1, you already know, it's Meganium. As cute as the Chikorita line is, it's just bad, like real bad. Now if we're talking about Meganium in Pokemon Go in the PvP, it's actually fantastic. It's like borderline broken at one point. But back to the main series games, time to get hit with that cold water and face the facts that Meganium just has nothing going for it. No secondary type to help it out, painfully average stats, mediocre move pool. Meganium is so bad it makes the Avatar live action look good, and that's hard to do.
Don't worry guys, I got this. Take that.
Okay, just kidding. Nothing's as bad as that piece of dog crap. If you enjoyed that video, check out this one right here, and subscribe for more content like this if you want more. Peace.